call this meeting to order. Can everyone in the back hear me?
I think if they move.
Okay. Can you hear me now? No? Okay, all right, perfect, thank you. The mission of the Freehold Township School District is to honor and support every learner every day on the journey to become curious and engaged members of a diverse global community. A notice listing the time, date, and place of this meeting was posted on the public bulletin board of all Freehold Township schools, on the entrance door to the administrative offices of the Board of Education, on the district website, at the office of the Freehold Township Clerk, published in the Asbury Park Press on January 7th, 2022, and sent to the news transcript on January 5th, 2022. I'd like to invite you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. I am rolling.
Ms. Costanza?
Here.
Mrs. Cozzolino? Mr. Gargiulo? Mrs. O'Sullivan?
Present.
Mrs. Patton?
Present.
Mrs. Thoman? Mrs. Venditoli?
Here.
Mr. Amoroso? Mrs. Lambert?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Before we move to approval of minutes, I'm just going to remind each board member who moves or seconds to shout it so Bob can hear you, since we can't see each other. I'd like a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from May 24th, 2022. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any abstentions? None. Motion carries. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes for the executive session meeting on May 24th, 2022. All in favor, say aye. Aye. One abstention. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes from the special meeting of June 7th, 2022. All in favor, say aye. I abstain. I was absent. Okay. And I'd like a motion to approve the minutes for the executive session meeting on June 7th, 2022. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Abstention. Okay. With that, we'll move on to communications.
The only communication this evening is enrollment. April of 2022, there were 3,503 students. May of 22, 3,507, versus May of 21, where it was 3,622. That is all.
Okay. I'm going to keep my president's remarks super brief. As you can see, we have a full house, and I just want to say welcome. It is such a welcome sight to see a full gym, again, at a board meeting, full of students, full of parents. I can't tell you how that makes my heart sing. Having said that, I welcome you all, and I just want to say thank you to the bus drivers, the central office staff, our custodial staff, all our staff, central office, all our teachers who got our students through this school year as we end the school year next week. I can't tell you how appreciative this board is for all the hard work and all the moving parts that it took to keep this district going all year round with as much normalcy as possible. And I think that's evidenced by this full gym here right now. So again, a heartfelt thank you from this Board of Education. With that, I will move to the administrative report so that we could start acknowledging the good stuff that's been long overdue. Mr. Dixon?
Good evening, everybody. It is a wonderful evening to be able to celebrate our students. We haven't had the ability to do that in quite a bit of time, and it is one of the things that we pride ourselves in, is the achievement of our students. This year was challenging in running our extracurricular activities and our sports programs, so I'd like to extend my gratitude and thanks to our coaches who rolled with the punches. Whatever guidelines were in place, they assimilated to give our students the experience that they deserve in each of the sports that we're recognizing this evening. We experienced significant transportation issues, and I'd like to thank the parents that are here this evening for your support. We did prioritize getting these students the experiences, again, that they deserve before they leave our district. We couldn't do that this year without your support in getting the students to and from. So thank you very much also for the role that you played. So for our recognition this evening, we invited over 200 students. So we will call the coach up. The coach will say a few words about their season, highlight any particular members of the team who had a special achievement, and the coaches will give out the certificates in their school. However, when the coach is finished, the team will come up, take a group picture, and then you can go back to your seats, and when we're all finished, we'll take a recess so that you don't have to stay through the entire meeting if you choose not to. So we'll go ahead and get started. This evening, our first recognition, we have with us our county superintendent, Dr. Les Richens. He's here this evening. One of our students, the State Board of Education acknowledges one student per county for something that they feel worthy of, deserves recognition. And for Monmouth County, one of our students is receiving that recognition. Unfortunately, the State Board of Education is still remote, but we are here, and Dr. Richens agreed to come and present Juliana Dema with a certificate. Dr. Richens. You want to say a few words?
Oh, yeah, thank you. This is like old home for me. Believe it or not, in 1968, that's a long time ago, most of the parents weren't even born. I started teaching over here at Barklow School. So it's been a long time and it's a lot of growth. Thank you. Now, someone's doing the math in their head, figuring out how long he's been doing this. Okay. This young lady that's next to me, I don't know how many of you know what she's done, but when Mr. Dickstein nominated her for the award, she went up against all of the students in Monmouth County. But what she did is really outstanding. Juliana started a charitable organization called G's Giving Gowns. And the G Giving Gowns provided children fighting pediatric cancer with a customized hospital gown that is sewn with love. That's she. So, not her mother. She did it. And I can witness that she can do it because I watched the CBS News clip and I saw her at her sewing machine going to do it. What an experience. The gowns are handmade and created with bright colors and patterns by her. She has donated these gowns not only to children in New Jersey, but North Carolina, Wisconsin, North Dakota, Florida, Texas, Mississippi, California, and even Canada. Juliana's mission is to remind children that they are strong, brave, loved, and an inspiration. And as I said, she was featured on CBS News. If you ever get a chance to see that clip, it's an amazing clip. And on behalf of the State Board of Education, the Commissioner of Education, and myself, I would like to present to you the student Monmouth County certificate of recognition to Juliana Dima for an outstanding academic achievement and leadership skills in the 2021-22 school year. You want to say something? You want to say- Go ahead. You didn't know you had to give a speech, huh? You don't have to say anything if you don't.
Thank you so much for all of your support.
Okay, thank you.
Again, we couldn't be more proud to have Juliana here this evening with us and the community service that she has done not only in Freehold, but that's impacted so many children with pediatric cancer across the country. Thank you, Juliana, for all that you do, and thank you to her family for supporting that effort. Next, we're going to move into our athletic programs and introducing first for the fall 2021 Barcala Boys Soccer National Conference Division A Championship, Coach Jason Moran.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dixie. Really quick, I don't want to go too long. I know that there's a lot of people here, but first of all, I want to thank the board, central administration, Mr. Smith, Mrs. Gambino, and Mr. Benjamino as well, the athletic director. He does a lot of stuff to get us onto the fields with referees and all that kind of stuff. For giving us this opportunity. Recognizing student athletes is one of the most important things, and students in general, one of the most important things that an educator can do, because it's not about us, it's about your achievement. And school athletics give students the opportunity in a unique situation to have a classroom outside of the walls of the school. They can collaborate, create teamwork, show grit, overcome obstacles, foster relationships that will go far beyond the classroom and in life. And that is what we are as educators. We are educators of young men and women who are bringing them into the new world and allowing them to build relationships. And that's very difficult and it's sometimes very polarizing, individualistic world that we've gone in. And I want to thank you guys for giving us that opportunity to have these sports, to be able to do these types of things. My Barcala boys soccer team did a tremendous job this year. They finished the season 9-1 as divisional champs. They overcome obstacles. They worked through COVID. They were able to not have a season the year before, but came back and still did great things. I am so proud of them as a coach, but just someone who I love working with these guys. And so thank you to my Barcala soccer players, to all the student athletes here. You should be honored to be here, to be achieving this achievement. Thank you to the parents, and thank you to the community for this support. I'd like to introduce to you the divisional champion Barcala boys soccer team. Boys, come on up here. Thank you. We'll do a picture with them.
We're just getting started. We have a whole bunch more to go. Next, Winter 21-22 Barkalow Wrestling, Monmouth County Tournament Champion and Monmouth Middlesex County Tournament Champion. I will not introduce them. I'll allow the coaches to do so. The two coaches are here this evening, Jack Stanley and Mike Benjamino.
Hey, Mr. Moran, where'd you go? Nice job. I mean, I like everything you said. Ditto. I'll just say that because it is. I mean, getting back up here this year was work. Okay, and I want to thank our Board of Education and our administrators. Thank you so much, Mr. Smith, Ms. Gambino, just to get everything going this year. So, Mr. Stanley has been coaching Barkalow for a few years now. I used to coach years ago. There we go. He's over at the high school. I coached years ago, came back in this year, and kind of came back onto a smaller team than we normally have. We usually have 40, 50 kids out there, and we had about 18 this year. 18. One of which I heard this name for at least 2 or 3 years. This little guy, look at Romeo. So Romeo, come on up here. I'll bring him up here. Now, where do I start with Romeo? So I have Romeo as a student. That's like the best part. When you're a coach and a teacher, you get to see these athletes in 2 different sides. You see them in the classroom, and when I first met him in September, I heard what a great wrestler he was, and then I saw him in my class, and I'm like, all right, like, fun. He's a great kid. He has so much fun all the time in practice. But I got to say this, when he steps on that mat, it is all business. I've never seen that flip-flop. Fun kid, always jokes around, has fun in class, at practices. Well, once in a while, we got to say what? Like, let's go, get it back going, right? He knows. But on the mat, it is like flips the switch, and he was one of our most decorated wrestlers this past season. So let me just go through real quick. Obviously, you see his weight. We have middle school wrestling. If you know, there's 20 weight classes. 70 and 75 was where Romeo wrestled for us. He had 9 matches at 70 and then 4 at 75. That's the regular season. His regular season record was 12-1. Nice job. Okay. 12-1. Notice he's up here like, really? Do I have to do this? Then middle school wrestling goes into a tournament. It's not like high school. We do a Monmouth County tournament where we have 2 divisions in our Monmouth County, and they wrestle each other, and he won that. So he won our Monmouth County tournament. Then they take all those Monmouth County champions, and then they wrestle Middlesex County, and he won that. All right. Then this is where we always have a hard time. So you take now you got the best middle schoolers of Monmouth and Middlesex County, 20 weight classes, go against Ocean County, and that's called the Tri-County Tournament. And he had a little trouble there, but still did a great job, did wrestle the kid real hard, went down to the end. And basically, in my years wrestling before, I don't know if you've had it, but have we ever had a 6th grader go to that Tri-County? No. So 6th grader made a name for himself this year, and we've got 2 more years with him, right? Yeah. All right. So we're looking forward to it. Yeah. All right. So, thank you.
Next, we're going to move to Spring 2022 Barkalow Girls Track and Field 2022 Girl B Division League Champion. Coaches, Jan Caputo, Jade Yelp, and Erin Peach.
It's actually Coach West now. Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to thank everyone who helped to make our season such a success. Thank you to the board, to Mr. Dickstein, Dr. Breathauer, Mr. Smith, Ms. Harms, our athletic director, Mr. Benjamino, to my fellow coaches, Ms. Yelk, Ms. Peach, and the boys coaches, Mr. Samanti, Mr. Berlew, and Mr. Finucane. Thank you to all of our athletes' parents and families who came out and supported us all season and for cheering us on. And especially thank you to all of our athletes who we are honoring tonight for all of your hard work, dedication, and good sportsmanship. Well, after 2 years of COVID restrictions, we came back stronger than ever. We had one of the most amazing seasons we've ever had. We started out with 82 girls on the team, and we went undefeated. We had a record of 7-0. We won our division, and we also beat some of the teams in the bigger division. We had outstanding performances on the track and in the field. We had 5 additions to our school records. So everyone did such an amazing job, and that was very evident at our All-Star meet. We competed against the best from 15 other schools in our county, and the girls were able to come home with 10 individual medals, including some real standouts. We had a 7th grader, Grace Lehman, who came in first in the 800, and then, should we bring her up? Will we bring her up? And she then came in third in the 400. Pretty amazing. We had an 8th grader, Madison Scarino, who got first in the shot put. And we had Rachel Eminenko, who got the MVP Field Award at the meet, that they only give one girl and one boy, because she came in second in the shot put and third in the discus. And this was after she had a finger injury that kept her on the sidelines for a couple weeks. So we are so impressed with her. And we are just so proud of all of our athletes. They worked so hard and they gave it their all every day. We can't wait to see what you will accomplish in the future. And we will definitely look forward to that. We definitely want to thank you for an amazing season. And we especially want to wish our 8th graders the best of luck. We are going to miss you terribly. So let's bring up the team. You want to give a speech?
Next, we have Spring 2022 Barkala Boys Track and Field, 2022 Boys B Division League Champions. We'll bring up the coaches, Kevin Samonti, Matt Fanukin, and Bill Burlew. No.
Thank you. Yeah. Ours looks the same, don't. All right, those of you that don't know me, my name is Kevin Samonti. I'm the boys head track and field coach at Barkala Middle School, alongside Coach Bill Burlew, assistant coach as well, and Matt Fanukin as well. I want to give a big shout out to the 3 assistant coaches. We had the pleasure of being able to work together with the girls team as well this season, with Coach West, Coach Yelk, and Coach Peach. Again, our season was also a successful one for Barklow. I ran for Barklow when I was in 6th grade, 7th, and 8th grade. Coach West was my coach. Coach Peach was my coach as well. To be able to come back and coach a program like this, it means the world to me. Not only that, but to be able to present and recognize our student athletes in front of the Board of Education. I want to thank everyone from the Board of Ed, as well as Mr. Dickstein, Dr. Brettbauer, Ms. Montgomery, thank you very much. We appreciate everything and the support. Mr. Smith, Ms. Harms, all season, thank you very much. Our season, we won the B Division Championship as well. We did a really nice job. We went undefeated on our season. We went to the Monmouth County All-Star Meet with 2 athletes per event. And to be honest, I tell all my boys this, if we scored that meet, I think we would have won the whole thing. However, we had some major shout outs from all the events across the board. We had 4 boys do something that we've never had done before. So I'll call them up and I'll recognize them in a moment, but our 4x100 meter relay team was able to pull off the win from a come behind win, 5th place after the first handoff in the 4x100 meter relay, and they ended up in 1st place at the end of the meet through the finish line. First team to win out of 15, 16 teams, I think. And they were just shy of a school record, but they almost had it. So the members of that relay team, Sebastian Polo on the anchor, all right, Alex Rivera, DJ Carter, and Devin Stump, all right. One second. Don't worry. And of course, I'd like to also recognize our field event MVP. This is an award that's given to only one athlete out of the entire meet. We had a field event MVP, and that was Charlie Delpreet, who's unfortunately couldn't make it tonight, but he did win the MVP. All right, so it was a really nice day for Barklow. Unbelievable season. You know, as my first year as a head coach, I couldn't ask for better support from everybody, and most importantly, being able to pull off the season. Mr. Benjamino, thank you for everything, setting up our season, getting it going for us. All right. All right, so with that being said, boys, come on up. Oh, yeah. I know you're getting tired of all the pictures. What's up, fellas? Gentlemen? Gentlemen? It's okay. A few lines.
I'm going to front. Miles, go on.
Yeah.
You want to go here?
Yeah, I'll go right in the middle. I'll take a knee in the middle.
I'm not going to answer.
Squeeze it. Yeah. Yeah. Down on there. There we go. Yeah, there you go, Brando. Yeah, smile. Yeah. Wait till graduation. Right. Cool. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. And we are going to wrap it up for Barklow with the 2022 Barklow Softball Division Champions and Coach Mike Benjamino. I'm going to do something a little different. Girls, come on up. I'll bring them up first. Come on. Go now. We'll get their picture after. Just figured do something a little different, right? We'll get their picture in a little bit. Just hang out so I can talk to you guys too. It's not just talking to the parents. Again, I will say thank you to our Board of Ed, our administrators. Again, this season would not have happened. Last season wouldn't have happened without you. But what I really do want to point out are 2 groups right now. These girls, and I'll talk about why in a second, and then also their parents. These last 3 years, obviously, as a softball coach, I've been coaching softball at Barklow for about 17 years now.
And I have to say, every year you can sit there and say, oh, it's the best team ever, we're championship, but it's the dedication these girls had over the 3 years. March 3rd, 2020, our 8th graders tried out for the team and made it. And they're on the team, and a week and a half later, it gets shut down. We don't know what's going on. 2 years ago, our 8th and 7th graders come back, and we have a season that we don't know if we're playing tomorrow or not. There's no playoffs, there's no championship. We have crazy rules and protocols we got to follow. We played 4 games, I think, girls. We had like 4 games last year, but they stuck with it. A lot of them play travel, they're involved, the dedication. That's what I want to point out is the dedication of these girls. And then this year, softball's back. Softball was back full force, playoffs, championship and everything. Our regular season record was 7-1. I could probably spend an hour and talk about each of their individual accomplishments, but I'll save that for our pizza party in 2 days. But again, just their dedication to the sport, as long as a lot of them I know have been playing, as long as I've been coaching, I'd have to say a very dedicated team, probably one of the most dedicated teams I've had, because again, I've known most of them for the last 3 years. So 7-1. Made the playoff, won our playoff game, and then won our division championship. So congratulations, girls.
I don't know that we're going to be able to fit in one line. You can't do the one line. Okay, we're moving on to the other side of town. Fall 2021 Eisenhower Boys Soccer National Conference Division B champions, inviting up Coach Tom Kale.
Hi, everyone. First, I'd like to thank the board members. I'd like to thank Diane and Neil, to Tom and Lori, for your continued support and dedication to middle school sports. As Mr. Moran said earlier, middle school sports is so important for the development of our students or our student athletes. So thank you for continuing to do that and to recognize how important that is on a daily basis. I want to thank all the parents. As all the coaches came up here and said, it was a tough year. It's been a tough past 2 years. I don't think I need to remind anybody of that, obviously. But this past season was tough, as Mr. Dickstein said, with busing issues and with referee issues. We made it happen. And when I say we, I mean the entire community of Freehold made these seasons possible for these boys and for my boys this season in 2021. Thank you to the parents. Your continued dedication, your flexibility is amazing. I mean, one day we're playing, the next day I don't even know if we're playing. We have a game on Thursday, no, it's on Friday. We don't have any goals to practice. We had a parent from Barclay, I apologize for not remembering your name, who actually brought us goals, our biggest rival. The parent from Barclay brought us goals over to Eisenhower for us to practice. So when I say it was a community effort, it really was a community effort. But thank you, parents. I cannot emphasize how easy or easier you make my job because you're so patient, you're so understanding, you're so flexible. Although I probably could anticipate you're probably like a duck on water and your legs are going a mile a minute underneath the water and you look very calm on top. That eases my tensions and makes my job much, much easier to do. And lastly, I'd like to thank all my boys of the 2021 Eisenhower Boys Soccer Team. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Every time I asked you to do something out on the field, you went out and you did it to the best of your ability. Thank you for buying into the program that I try to run, that I've been running at Eisenhower. Thank you for your dedication, for your hard work, for never really questioning anything we did to achieve our goals. You boys set your goals at the beginning of the year, and you achieve your goals. We finished the season at 9 wins and 1 loss, and as Mr. Dickstein said, we won the National Conference B Division Championship. So congratulations, boys. I'm so proud of you. And if I could real quick, I'd like to acknowledge 2 boys on the team. There's 2 special awards that we give out at Eisenhower every year. One is the Eisenhower Boys Soccer Coaches Award, and that was awarded this year to Joe Haney. So Joe, can you stand up real quick, please? And then the second special award that we have every year is the Graham Preston Award, which was started back when Graham had passed away. So it's been going on for a long time. There's a long history in both of these awards. So I'd like to recognize Ryan Spencer. So Ryan, come on up. Ryan was the recipient of this year's Graham Preston Leadership Award. Ryan, everybody else come on up. Congratulations, boys. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We have 2 more to go. We have the Winter 21-22 Eisenhower Wrestling Monmouth County Tournament Champion and Monmouth Middlesex County Tournament Champion. And to introduce the student being recognized, Coach Ryan Kluzowitz.
Thank you.
All right, good evening. First, thank you to the board, the administration. We really appreciate it, guys. There was a lot that went into the season. I know it wasn't easy, it was challenging, a lot of obstacles, especially with a sport like wrestling. And we were very appreciative to have the 21-22 season. So thank you. And Ms. Gambino, Mr. Giordano, and especially Nurse King, a lot of work behind the scenes to also make it happen. So one of the exciting accomplishments during the 21-22 season was Cole Turner. So Cole, come on up. Coaches Brian DeStasi, Coach Rich Van Milaro, and myself got to see Cole in action. And I want to make sure that I get these accomplishments down. He had a record of 14-1. He was the Monmouth County champion, the Monmouth Middlesex champion, and he was the runner-up against Ocean County. This is no easy task. This is Central Jersey is some of the best wrestling around, and it's definitely not an easy thing to make happen, and he did. So awesome job, Cole. And these speak for themselves, but the best part about this is he's the most coachable, one of the hardest working guys when he comes into the wrestling room, and overall, he's just a great person. So congratulations to Cole Turner. Theo Burrows, very lucky.
Take a picture. And last but not least, we have Spring 2022 Eisenhower Track and Field, 3 student champions being recognized. I'll invite up Coach John Krupp, Tom Kale, Maureen Minter, Amelia Snow, Laura Brophy, and Dana Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Dickstein. Thank you, members of the Freehold Township Board of Education.
Thank you to our school principal, Mrs. Gambino, Mr. Giarratano. I want to say thank you to the crosstown rival principal, Mr. Smith. He always asks how we're doing. When we have Board of Education meetings, it's not uncommon that Mr. Smith also sends an email or pulls me off on the side and says, job well done. So it's nice to see it from crosstown rival. I want to thank Mrs. Patmore, the guidance secretary. Thank God for all the things that she did this year at sports forums and made our job easier. 17 years ago, I came to Eisenhower. I'm getting older. You probably see I have a nice receding hairline. But 17 years ago, I came to Eisenhower, and we were preparing for basketball. I know this is track and field. We were playing Barkla the following night. I remember my mom calling and said, you need to get home. Something's wrong with Dad. And I rushed home. It's like 7:30 at night. And there it was right in front of me. My dad died in my arms. After 45 minutes of CPR, I thought I saved him, and I didn't. Well, the months before that, I had looked at the back of the gym at Eisenhower, and when I looked at the individual championship banner, there was not a single kid that ever finished first in Monmouth County in shot put or disc. And that put a thought into my head. It's something Mrs. Gambino talked about a couple years ago. It was our school theme, and that was about having grit. It made me think about my dad. My dad was not a Marine. I was almost a Marine. In fact, I turned down the Marines to stay teaching in Eisenhower. That's how much I love to teach. I don't like to teach. I love to teach. Big difference. Now tonight, we get to recognize two athletes who now go up on the banner as in my teaching and coaching career. I'm pretty lucky to have my 11th and 12th county champions in shot put and discus. Jaden Vera, come on up. Nikita Shabalin, come on up. Jaden won the Monmouth County Championship for boys shot put, and it's really at the championship level. It's not a difference of feet. It's a game of inches. He won by 5 inches. He did it on his second trial throw of 3. For those of you who know the rules, that's the first tiebreaker. If you're going to have your best throw, you want it to be in your first tiebreaker. A little side note about Jaden. Jaden never threw a shot put before. He's of the 12 kids now who are going up on the banner, 11th and 12th. He is now my 5th athlete that I've worked with that's never thrown a shot put. For those of you who don't know, this is what a shot put looks like. It's called a 4K at the middle school level. It's 8 pounds, 8 ounces. I'm going to pass this around to the Board of Ed members. Okay, we'll go all the way back down. At the end, we're going to see how far each of you can throw. And yes, I do have my measuring tape in the trunk. Nikita Shabala, I want to talk about him. He's our boys discus champion in Monmouth County. When he went out to throw his first throw, he threw 69 feet, 4 inches. And he knew right away it was not a good throw for him. The second throw he threw, he fouled. You only get 3 trial throws. And they said we compete against 16 schools because it's 15 schools plus a 16th school. You compete against kids from your school. It's the only sport at the middle school level in Monmouth County to get your name on the individual championship banner. You have to take on 16 schools at the same time. And you have to win the all-star meet. No other athlete can say that outside of track and field. Nikita did it on his 3rd throw, his 3rd and final trial throw as an 8th grader at the Dwight David Eisenhower Middle School, home of the Generals. He did it. 82 feet even, he pulled off being champion. I want to invite up another champion. I'm going to turn this over to Coach Kale. Coach Kale is the track and field head coach with myself, and he specifically coaches high jump and long jump. I'll turn this over to him.
How do I follow that? I can't pass the high jump bar down the table. Maybe a miniature version of it here. Thanks, John. So real quick, as Coach Krupp said, the individual that we're recognizing tonight is for girls high jump. She placed first in the All-Star meet at Asbury Park. And as a coach, I guess your dream is to always have coachable kids, kids that work hard, kids that have a great personality, kids that go above and beyond what you ask them to do. And if it's a legacy, if it's someone's last name that you may have coached their brother or someone else, then that's even better because you've kind of been prepared for that attitude that person has. So when I heard the last name of this girl was Fada, that was really all I needed to know. I had the opportunity to coach her brother Drew in soccer and in wrestling, and I knew the work ethic right away that her brother had, and the first time I saw her jump, all my worries went out the window. She was a Theta. That's all I needed to know. And she proved me right every time she came to practice, every time she came to the meet. So Kaylee, come on, stand up. Come on up here. I want to congratulate Kaylee Theta for first place in the All-Star Meet for girls high jump. Congratulations.
If I can just jump in and say a couple quick things, I promise I'll keep it short. We had just come back today from the 8th grade trip, and I'm lucky I get to teach Kaylee, so I get to know her really well as being one of my students too, like Nikita. And there we were, not even 10 minutes back from the 8th grade trip after being outside in the heat, and there was Kaylee working away at her desk, taking notes and preparing for the core discovery and Lewis and Clark expedition. Tell me how many kids you would see coming back from the 8th grade trip with 35 minutes to go, rushing into class, going to work. That's what it means to be a student athlete at Eisenhower.
Come on, you get it.
I just once again want to express my appreciation to our coaches, our players, the parents for your support. There's nothing better than coming out and recognizing our students and the pride that they not only give you as parents, but us as administrators in the school district. There's no better place to be than Freehold Township, and the students and families that are here tonight. Our teachers prove that each and every day. Another round of applause for everybody being recognized this evening.
At this time, we're going to take a short 5-minute recess so the students that are here can go if they wish to go, but of course, everybody is welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting.
So, I mean, essentially your daughter any better from when she had an infection?
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Is Mary back? Okay. Okay. Recess over. Oh, yeah, we need to do the bullying investigation report.
Since our last meeting, there were 8 reported cases of harassment, intimidation, and bullying, and after being investigated, all 8 cases were founded.
Okay. Okay. Okay, this will be our first opportunity for public participation. If anyone wishes to address the board, please write your name and address on the sign-in sheet and state your name for the record. Statements are limited to 3 minutes, should not be abusive, obscene, or defamatory in nature. This first opportunity is for items that are on the agenda tonight only. The second opportunity for public participation can be on any other items. So if you have a question regarding something that we're voting on the agenda tonight, please step to the podium.
I don't have a question. It's merely a,
For student recognition? Sure.
my name is Estras, E-S-D-R-A-S, Vera, V-E-R-A, parent of Jaden Vera, was recently awarded here for a shot put. Can you hear me now? Yes. So it's incredible what a difference 3 years make. COVID in between. When I first fought the board or fought the administration to get Jaden into Eisenhower away from Barkalow, you always try to do the right thing for the kid, and I think that there's no doubt, based on what you saw today, that it was the absolute right thing for us to do. But it would have not been possible if it weren't for a squadron of teachers, really, that are at Eisenhower to empower these kids to be successful every single day, with great leadership from Mrs. G, Ms. Gambino, and Mr. Geritano. So, I don't think there was ever a communication that we exchanged or had or call where they did not say present and we'll look into it, or we'll do it, or we're gonna take care of things. And that's just unbelievable to see at the middle school. And I am eternally grateful for this great leadership that Eisenhower has, and for everything that they do for these students. And I'm really proud of my son as well. But it's honestly, it goes beyond what a normal principal and assistant principal should do. So I'd like to recognize them for just a tremendous job that they did for the last year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations again to your daughter.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to address the board on any item on the agenda tonight?
Sal Saluccio, 17 Hampton Drive, Freehold. Before we start, last week I was told that the meeting was going to be recorded and everyone could hear it. And as of now, we still don't have that audio or the full video from that meeting last week.
I don't know.
And prior meetings, there's like garbled audio.
Okay.
No, but this is like important meetings that are going on right now, so I think that we should get this straightened out so parents can be informed of what's really going on instead of having a software issue. All right, on to the curriculum is in this portion, correct?
On the agenda.
It's on the agenda. All right, let's go.
Wait, which
item?
which item on,
That H, curriculum, policy
right, but
committee,
which number?
all of it. It's going to be,
4? Did you say 4?
I didn't say anything.
Oh,
I just said this is curriculum is in this agenda, so I'm going to talk.
It has to be on an item on the agenda, otherwise you come back to the next session and speak about a general curriculum topic. Correct?
Okay, the committee meetings, how is that going to be working out? And when do we start getting some feedback of what is actually on this agenda? Uh-huh.
no, that's fine. Yeah, yeah.
I'm the chair of the curriculum committee. We have 3 chairs. I'm good. We present the minutes of that evening's meeting right before we move the items in that particular section on the agenda.
Okay. Now, the last meeting, one of the retiring teachers said that they were already working on this curriculum, so I don't understand why it's like such a vague and like mysterious of what this curriculum is going to be. Like, I don't understand why nobody has any grasp of what it is yet. And we're getting towards the end of the time frame. But some boards are already rejecting it, so I don't know why you guys are so far behind. Let's go.
What?
So I can speak to that. Are you,
Yes.
first, let me just clarify. Are you speaking about the comprehensive health and physical education curriculum?
I'm just talking about the curriculum as a whole, this new state mandated debacle, whatever you call it.
So our curriculum is written by content area. So I'm making the assumption, but I don't want to make the, are you speaking about the concerns that you've spoken about previously related to the health and physical education curriculum?
I'm talking about the sexualized aspects of the curriculum, yes.
I'm not going to speak to that.
Why? Why is it like so like nobody wants to speak about it? Like it's not going to happen like
I can
soon.
tell you what we have 2 curriculum committees that are working currently, one in the area of social studies at the elementary level. They'll be doing their work this summer. One in the area of health and physical education.
But why waste time on something that might not even get passed? Like some school boards are already rejecting it out of hand.
The standards have been adopted by the State Board of
Someone's going to
Education.
speak about that some of them are already getting rejected out of hand. So why are we wasting time? We don't know what's on it, and then by the time we're going to put it up, I might even get rejected. Not sure because no one's going to put their vote on the record on that because
The standards have been adopted by the State Board of Education, and the mandate from the Department of Education is that school districts need to have curricula in place
Right.
for September of 2022.
to
So
get the funding.
this, it's not, the funding has, our state funding has nothing to do with it. We are mandated
Yeah, it's
to
up
have.
to the school board. So
I can't speak to,
when are we going to put this to vote? That's what I.
so there's nothing to vote on currently. The curriculum.
Vote on if we're even gonna, before we even see the curriculum, if we're even gonna put it in. And then we say, oh yeah, we'll put it in. Let's put some stuff.
The
together.
process is the professionals in the district will be writing the curriculum.
Yeah.
We will be presenting it to the Board of Education for their review and approval in August, and the Board of Education will decide whether or not to adopt it at that point.
But here's an example, like Garwood.
Thank you.
Garwood already rejected it 7-2. So you're telling me they're so far ahead? They rejected. it
Sir,
like
your
last
time
month.
is up.
Okay, I'll speak later.
Thanks.
If anyone else would like to address the board, remember it's on agenda items only right now.
My name is Michael Roselli. I live at 76 Rustic Way here in Freehold, and it's actually a question. I don't know if this is on it because I'm looking through the minutes, or the agenda, sorry. And section H, subject 8, talks about policies that in cooperation with law enforcement agencies an emergency and crisis situation. So what I want to bring up is I want to talk about school safety. I don't know if that falls under that or if I should.
You have to wait for the second session for
Okay,
that.
I
okay?
wasn't sure.
Thank you.
All right.
Mhm. Would anyone else like to address the board on items that are on the agenda? Okay. We will move on to personnel. Ms. Tolman?
The Personnel Committee met this evening. Present were myself, Mrs. Vendatoli, Mrs. Lambert, and Dr. Brethauer. We discussed all of the items on the agenda. Item number 3, retirement. Lynette Bresnahan, 15 years of service. Thank you so much. And for Heidi Toth, 24 years of service. Resignations as listed. New employment as listed. And if anybody here is present, we'd love to welcome you to our district. We're very happy to have you. Contract renewals as listed. Contract renewals for non-affiliated staff as listed. Contract renewals for part-time teaching assistants as listed. Change of assignments as listed. Change of assignment and salary adjustment as listed. Leaves of absence as listed. Unpaid days as listed. Stipend for teacher assistant as listed. District head nurse as listed. CPR coordinator and trainer as listed. District PBS coaches as listed. CPI trainers as listed. Long-term substitutes as listed. ESY transportation staff as listed. And ESY staff update as listed. Rescind ESY employment as listed. Summer IEP meetings as listed. Summer work as listed. Summer evaluations as listed. PBS building-based committees as listed. PTO honoraria as listed. Additional compensation as listed. Curriculum committees as listed. And non-certified substitutes as listed. Do we need a roll call?
Does anybody have any questions regarding any item? Any board members have any questions? Okay. Then I need a second. And a roll call.
Mrs. Costanza?
Yes.
Mrs. Cozzolino? Mr. Gargiulo? Mrs. O'Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Patton?
Yes, I abstain on items 3 and 6.
Mrs. Thoman?
Yes.
Mrs. Vendatoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Lambert?
Yes.
All motions pass.
Moving on to curriculum and policy, Ms. Patton?
Lambert? Good evening. The Curriculum and Policy Committee met this evening at 6:30 p.m. Present were Mrs. Montgomery, Ms. Cozzolino, Mr. Gargiulo, and myself. We discussed all items on the agenda and had the opportunity to ask any questions, including the policies that are on for this evening and the related regulations. We also talked about changes in supervisor positions and the ESEA grant application for 2023. I'd like to move the following items. Item 3, course reimbursement. Item 4, affiliation agreement between Keene University and Freehold Township School District. Item 5, student teacher practicum observation placements as listed. Item 6, the ARP ESSER Homeless Children and Youth Grant Consortium. Item 7, home instruction. Item 8, the second reading of policies and related regulations as listed in the agenda. Item 9, online course instruction. And item 10, the memorandum of understanding with the YMCA and Freehold Township School District.
Sorry, I have one question. And in the memorandum of understanding with the YMCA, it says Wi-Fi access. I am assuming that we have a way to give guests access to, yeah. That's what I thought.
Second. Aye.
8-1 no.
Okay, we did not meet as a committee today. Certification of Finance and Facilities Transportation Committee as listed. The Secretary Treasury Report as listed. Ms. Patton, thank you for doing the bills and claims, which is $1,275,545.24 as listed. Travel and related expenses as listed. Transfers as listed. Transfers ratified as listed. Pay stipends update as listed. Consultants as listed. Specialized evaluations and services as listed. Online course instruction for 2021-2022 as listed. Online course instruction for 2022 and 2023 as listed. Homebound instruction services as listed. Honoraria for Clinton T. Barkalow Middle School, $1,000 as listed. Approved contract with Dell Incorporated for the 2022-2023 school year as listed. Approved contract with the Gillespie Group as listed. Approved contract with Home Depot Pro as listed. Approved contract with the Garafis Painting Contractors Incorporated as listed. Out-of-district contracts as listed. Tuition contracts for received students update as listed. The IHA LLC service contract as listed. For the year 2023, the ESA EA grant allocation as listed. And numbers 23 and 24 will not be moved tonight as listed. 23 and 24. 25, acceptance of bids for boiler cleaning and repair, time and material as listed. Award of bids for boiler cleaning and repair, time and material number 26 as listed. TWU sidebar agreement as listed. And that is it. Any questions? Okay.
On number 9, the last two consultants, the first two, we have a cap. Why don't we put a cap on all of them? Like not to exceed however many hours before it has. I don't know, there's a cord.
So I can speak to those. Do you want me?
Yeah, if you don't
Do you want, yeah, I can speak to those. Mrs. Vendatoli, the first two that are on there are specifically for ESY services. So the not to exceed is based on what we know related to students' IEPs and their IEP services during extended school year. So the other two are being approved as consultants for general use during the course of the next school year. So we don't know how much we will need of them. That's why there isn't a cap on it. So what will happen is we are approving these as consultants for use in the district. If we need to use them for particular students over the course of next year, those students, they'll get approved by, like, as an individual student for a certain period of time No. They're just being approved to be consultants that the district can use next year.
Certification.
So each time a student will need them, they will be like on an agenda for that. And an amount of.
Can I ask a question too? Number 15, the Chromebooks. This is the Dell contract. Fifth grade class?
That's correct.
Now, this is the first time we're going into fifth grade and so are we providing them in sixth grade too?
So the students this year, we provided them in fifth and sixth. Those will now roll because we have 4-year warranties. So we're starting the cycle in fifth grade. So they will keep the same device, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. So our team is starting collection tomorrow, and then we'll be reshuffling to the appropriate middle school for those, wherever the fifth graders are going. And then fifth grade will then get their new devices. Sixth grade, they will magically appear by the first day of school at their middle school.
Okay.
It's just the wave of a technology wand.
Just moving it younger and younger.
No, it makes more sense that the warranty is 4 years, and it makes more sense from a fifth grade transitioning to sixth grade. So that's really why we talked about doing that. And the 4-year warranty will allow, again, a child to have his or her own device for the length of the warranty and the breakage cycle and all that. So that's why.
Okay.
Sure.
Period. Are we leasing the devices or do we own them?
So we own them, and then they get pushed down into carts at the younger grades. So as you can see, the challenge is that when they're out of warranty, at some point they become doorstops and they go to the dump, right? So the goal would be to get the largest warranty we can get so we can repurpose them after the kids graduate onto carts. For our younger kids have carts in the classrooms, right? But as you can imagine, if you think about the years, at some point, a child may have an 8-year-old device sitting on the cart. So there has been a talk of considering, at the same time, maybe once every 5 years, doing a fourth grade and having them like trickle down so that there's always a warranty device. But we haven't costed that out yet, and it's just preliminary talking. But the challenge is that our students are testing SLA and they're using the Chromebooks. They need to be reliable. They have to accept updates. And at some point they become doorstops.
So that was my question. Before that point happens, is there a way that somebody in the technology department can assess what we have and decide whether maybe it's a better idea to sell them, to purchase newer ones rather than?
You mean sell the ones after the 4-year warranty and then
Correct.
purchase new? We certainly can explore all options. I think that you see the cost to buy a grade level. Anytime we're going to consider a 2-grade level purchase, it's about $300,000.
Well, it's a depreciating asset, so it's
Yes.
I just wanted to know what the life cycle is and what actually makes sense long-term, whether
Sure.
it's worth it.
Yeah, we could certainly, absolutely. It's definitely something that's on our minds now that, and I hear what you're saying, Mary, about it being younger and younger. SLA is testing in third. They have to have access, right? Pearson has to be able to load. If it can't load, So it's problematic in the functionality of what we do, so we are thinking about it.
And within the building with testing, when there is I'm assuming we have enough for each student, but if there's an issue, the plan, is it like a cart with Chromebooks that we know, like loaner type?
Yes, so in our
Okay.
middle schools, each classroom has a couple of loaners in it on the daily for use. There's usually 1 to 2 available in the elementaries, but like I said, the usage is very different in K2, as it should be. So it's really, 3, 4, that's where they really need to have devices that can be relied upon, and that's what we have to talk about. Should we be buying 5th and 6th? And then having 6th roll up, 5th go down, right, once every 5 years, so at least there's this replenishment of devices. So we do have to talk through it some more, it mathematically. I don't want to just jump to 2 grade levels, but
Well, and all the testing's online, it's a lot to manage.
it is, and we're
Yeah.
very fortunate. I mean, Justin can attest, we've done a lot of cleaning up, getting rid of the door stops, the functionality, like we're all over about assessing really where we are, what the life cycle is, like everything is, getting Laurel, as you know, in our tech department, it's been a good thing for us, and we're taking an inventory and really hopefully have a good plan in place moving forward.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. So, for those board members that have not completed the superintendent evaluation, I would ask you to do that in the next 2 days, sorry. What? Okay. I know there were some issues with the duo thing, but I think we're all good with that now, so we're good. Okay, so that's all I have for old business. New business, we have graduations on Monday. I find that so hard to believe. But I was, again, very grateful to have a full gym. The opportunity to hear John Krupp say Dwight David Eisenhower, home of the generals, once again, actually warmed my heart. So I'm going to go with that. Yes, and the visual aids.
Email signature.
Yes, it is. So we're going to move on to our second opportunity for public participation. This is the second opportunity. If anyone wishes to address the board, please write your name and address on the sign-in sheet. State your name for the record. Statements are limited to 3 minutes in length and should not be abusive, obscene, or defamatory in nature.
My questions are.
Please state your name.
State your name, please.
44 Moreau Avenue.
I find that look, you can talk.
May 11th, we had the roundtable, and we all asked questions, and we have yet to receive any answers to those questions.
We had a lot of feedback from the roundtable. Oh, sorry, I don't know if this is gonna work. We did have a lot of feedback from the roundtable, so Mrs. Montgomery, Mary, and I are going to meet next week to go over all the final questions and stuff that we had, and we'll be sending that out to everybody who attended.
By email?
Yes.
So we're each going to receive an email, so I can't ask my 2 questions tonight that I asked to get answers. Can I ask my 2 questions I asked that night? They're very simple. The first one was, are we getting new textbooks this year for the new, in September, either hard copies or on the Chromebooks? Are we getting new textbooks? That was one of my questions.
Textbooks for what?
For the new
For
health and
anything.
comprehensive.
Any new textbooks,
For any curricula?
any curriculum.
No. We have no
Not,
textbooks.
not that I'm aware of. no,
Okay, we didn't
no.
purchase any new
No, we
textbooks.
haven't, we are not planning to purchase
Thank
any
you.
new textbooks at this time.
And then my second question was, I glasses on, sorry. About, my question is, do we follow the New Jersey Department of Education's comprehensive equity plan, or do we have our own? I know you probably can't answer that right now, but.
Yeah,
No,
no, Mr. Dickstein
Neil
can answer.
Yeah, Neil can.
We're required to follow the guidelines for developing our own. So there's specific components. There's a needs assessment that we conduct, and then there's specific components that have to be included, and we design our own. I'm not sure if it's accessible on the website or not, but we create here with a committee our own comprehensive needs assessment.
Will that be public
comprehensive
knowledge?
equity
Will that
plan.
be for the public to see, and then
I believe we
every,
presented it. It's not a one-year plan. It's a
a three-year
three-year
plan?
that
It's a
was
three-year
extended.
plan?
That was extended once or twice. One time? It's a three-year plan that we
Right.
signed an extension of 1 year to.
And then when you have to fill out, when you have to submit the statement, is that public knowledge? Do we get to see what your statements are when you fill it out?
It's on the agenda. It says approve the statement of assurance, which the statement says we are implementing the plan for another year, or we implemented it.
Okay, but
That's
then
the statement.
what you submit to the state, that's what I want to know if that's,
Are you talking about the plan itself or the statement of assurance annually?
it's the statement of assurance.
The statement of assurance, we can share it with you. The template is, I'm sure it's somewhere to be found, but basically it says we're implementing our plan. That's the statement of assurance. And I'll let Dr. Breithauer expand if you'd like.
Yes, I believe it should be, and I can't tell you exactly where, but it should be, the actual plan should be on the website for you to view. And the statement of assurance, I believe, was it April? We did it as early as April. It's a standard statement that says, we assure that we are following this plan.
The plan,
It is,
the
if you-
plan itself.
And you wrote your name down, yes? Okay, because I can follow up and send it to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I take it now's my time. I can speak, right?
Time.
Oh, thank you, Board. I appreciate it. We're 3 weeks removed from obviously a situation in Texas that I think to most people in this country struck pretty hard. Unfortunately, it's not the first one that the country has seen. And I had the good fortune about a week after to speak with Mr. Dickstein in detail about some of the safety protocols and things that we as Freehold Township residents and parents of our students think of. And obviously, this is something that because of timing, you can look at and say, well, it's at the top of everybody's mind. Unfortunately, this is something that needs to be on the top of our minds at all times. And Mr. Dickstein was very forthcoming, and he was honest in saying that we can't say not here. That's not an acceptable response for any school district in the country. In the past couple of weeks, obviously a lot of emotion, a lot of communication. I stand here today and I implore the board to consider putting armed resource officers, Class 3 SLEOs, in all schools all day long. Through my conversations with Mr. Dickstein, he informed me that we have 2 in the middle schools, and we've got 1 rotating between the other schools, the 5 elementaries and the ELC. The question that I would throw back, and then to me, again, as a parent, I'm not a board member, I'm not an administrator, so I'll speak honestly around that. One of 2 things would obviously be the issues, first being funding and understand the limitations there. Well, there's 53 municipalities in Monmouth County. I can say through public record that Freehold Township has the 26th highest tax rate and the 22nd highest average tax bill in the county. Now, what I'll just bring up is, I don't find it ironic, I'm not pleasantly to look at it and say that the one township that's immediately next to us in both of those metrics is Middletown. Their board voted to implement with the 22-23 school year to have armed officers in all their classes, all of their schools. So funding, if our peer set can do it, we can do it. I look at the immediate surrounding area, I look at Marlboro, I look at Manalapan, And I understand that they have armed security officers in their schools, all of their schools. So if it's not funding, and I know this is going to sound very harsh, I ask, why are the elementary students' lives and the faculty in the elementary schools not as valuable of those in the middle schools? Don't know the process that has to take. I know that we as taxpayers, more importantly as parents of students in this district, we all want to make sure our kids are safe. Not here, not now, not acceptable to me as a parent. So I don't know the procedures, don't know the policies that have to be taken, but I can say this will not be my last meeting to come and speak at. If this is something that we can't see move forward, I ask, I beg that we can look at our elementary students and the faculty in our elementary schools with the same care and concern that we have for the other students in the district.
Thank you.
Renata Brand. So as of today, 4 school boards have rejected the 2020 New Jersey Learning Standards: Millstone, Garwood, Montague, and one more, I forgot the name. The question is, when will Freehold Township reject these standards? Don't say that these standards are mandated, because the standards specifically place the right to implement these standards on the local school boards. That's you and all of you. You have the right to reject immoral curriculum. So, because are we saying that all these years our kids did not have a good education? Because I thought the township had consistently scored high on New Jersey standard testing. So where's the problem? If education has been excellent all these years, why are we trying to twist and change it? There's only one truth. We either had a good education or we didn't, right? So if we had a good education, we don't need to change it. The truth of the learning standards, the 2020 learning standards, is that it doesn't address learning at all. It addresses sexualization of our children. And there's a simple rule in life: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We are fine with our education, because that's what school is supposed to be. It's not about indoctrination. It's not about propaganda. It's not about sex. It's about education. History, math, you know the drill. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Shauna Pizzuto. Hi, good evening. I just wanted to come up here tonight to speak about 2 things. One, I just wanted to say that I do agree with Michael Rosselli when he was speaking about there being security in each building. I do feel that that's very important. I also learned recently that there's not doors in all of the classrooms. I don't understand. How could there not be a door on all of the classrooms? I mean, you're just welcoming an intruder. I want to know why, and I want to know what we're going to do moving forward to fix that.
I will, it's lengthy, so I would be willing to call you and have a follow-up conversation if you
you.
don't mind.
Okay, no problem. And then I also wanted to speak about the curriculum that everybody else is speaking about. And I believe that it was 2020, that you guys were told that it needed to be implemented by the school year of 2023, and you still didn't write the curriculum, and we're not going to know about it till August? What took so long?
When that was, they revised every curriculum area and they gave us a calendar to do it. Then COVID came and they gave us an extension. So we took every curriculum area and divided it over the course of years. So at this point, we're in our last years, which is elementary social studies and comprehensive health and physical education. We write those curriculum over the summer. And although it would be, the new curriculum areas will be voted on in August, the implementation of elementary social studies will be immediate. Your questions about comprehensive health and phys ed.
Correct.
We don't start the year with family life. So even if we present at that time, we will give you assurance that there will be time for it to be presented and to parents before that's implemented. So I'm glad you asked the question, because we want to make it clear that although that curriculum will be adopted in August once it's completed or recommended to the board for adoption, we still have time to be able to present or highlight for grade parents of different grade levels to understand what that looks like.
Once it's presented to us, is there anything we could do
Yes.
about it?
Yes, there's an opt-out for.
Okay, so now what does that involve?
It's as simple as you get a communication from sometimes the school principal, sometimes the phys ed teacher.
It's going
Oh, it'll be in Genesis.
It'll be in Genesis.
So you'll be able to check the box that you don't want your child.
Right, but where is my child going to be when he's opted out? Is he going to just be given
You'd
busy
have-
work?
You have to speak to each building administrator. For the most part, there's a phys ed class happening, but
I can speak to that.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there is a law that allows parents to opt out of those components of the health curriculum that fall into the family life category. And it requires alternate assignments. So the health and PE teachers would give students alternate assignments in other areas of health, and they would do it with class coverage somewhere else in the library or in another classroom.
Is my child going to feel left out? This year, my child had a medical exemption. He didn't have to wear a mask. By the end of the year, before they lifted the mask mandate, he started to ask me if he could wear one. He's in first grade. He's 6 years old. So if I am not including him in this health class, is he going to feel left out?
I can't speak to how he's going to feel. I can tell you confidently that the staff is not going to make him feel ostracized, because there's kids that whose parents opt them out every year. Yes, that
This is my first child in the district,
Yeah.
and he's only in first grade, so I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
it
yes,
exists
yes, yes.
currently. Sorry.
Right, no, I
I'm
understand
sorry, I
that, but
forgot.
it's just, I didn't know what they did when they were opted, when they went to opt out, and I didn't know where they're, how they're gonna opt them out. Are they gonna slowly pull them out of the classroom in front of everybody? Is it gonna be embarrassing? I just wanted to know what I'm going to
I'll
be
follow up.
against.
I'll follow up about the procedure.
Thank you.
More in depth also for you.
And then also, I know that we're still waiting, but you already answered the question about the questions during the roundtable. And I know that there was one, that we spoke about, that you weren't sure what grade. And then there was also something else. One of the administrators was there, and she said there already are uncomfortable topics in health, that the children turn red and they laugh. And I asked her, I said, what topic are these? I'm just interested. I think it was middle school, so maybe 7th or 8th grade. And she started laughing and turning red, and she couldn't tell me what the topic was. And I said, we're in a room filled with adults, and you're an adult. If you can't tell me what you're talking to these children about without making a straight face or laughing, why are we supposed to be comfortable you talking to my 2nd grader about it, or my 5-year-old?
Thank you. I'm sorry, your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to address the board?
I'm Sal Sluccio, 17 Hampton Drive, Freehold. Yeah, you could use some of my time to answer her question.
I'm sorry?
You could use some of my time to answer her question on red face.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way?
If you'd like
Okay.
to address the board, please do.
Now, how does it work what is the date that the curriculum is going to be completed? What is the drop dead date?
We don't have a drop.
You don't have a date on that either?
It's August.
What are you got 9 people up here. What are you guys doing? This is a hot topic and.
Mr. Silicio, you
Yes?
clearly do not understand how a school board works.
Yes, you know how I'm going to know how it works? When I'm on it next year.
Because I'm going to be on here, I'm going to take one of you out of this thing, and I'm going to find out how it works. How you like that?
Explaining to you.
And then I'll explain to the parents what's going on, because you guys are not explaining it to these people. What you need to do is, when is
Our
the,
meeting is August 30th. It'll be completed prior to that.
August 30th, and what, school starts when? September? You got like a week to figure out this big drastic change that everyone's talking about?
Ms. Montgomery will give us.
Miss Montgomery better get on the ball, because you know what? Listen, Garwood, and I know you're laughing, it's not funny, because I gotta come every week. It's not funny, it's not, it's just absurd. You know, Garwood is on the ball, they knocked it down. You could knock it down, you don't wanna knock it down. Can somebody give me one reason on this board why you wouldn't knock it down?
So, Lucio, let me just make one thing clear.
Make it clear.
Right. I don't know, and I will look into how.
I've been answering this question for a while. You know, if I need to say somebody.
Let me speak.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you. When you get elected to a school board, you take an oath. The first element of that
For the
oath.
children, not your own political power.
The first oath that you take is that you will uphold and enforce all laws, rules, and regulations of the State Board of Education and court orders pertaining
So
thereto.
Garwood just
So
didn't
the
follow
State
that
Board
rule.
of Education, well, this is what I'm telling you, they're violating their code of ethics. I'm not sure on what platform. They just can strike down a mandate.
You have a choice. It's
State
not,
mandate.
you know, everything you're going to fall back on the state
What your
mandate.
curriculum guidelines need to look like. How you write your curriculum is up to each individual.
I know, you're going to give us a runaround and then you're even putting the family life
I'm
part
trying
of
to
it.
educate
You're
you
putting the
on
family
how the
life
process
part of it. Okay, it's my time. We're going to put the family life part of it, so we're already integrated into school. So in the beginning, you're getting the funding, you know, the kids are, oh, you're going to opt out.
It
So
has
parents feel
nothing to do
safe.
with
So then you're going to put the kids in, you're going to get the funding in the beginning of the year, and then you're going to hit us with the ridiculous curriculum for family life, and then you're kind of stuck. You got the funding, you're like, screw the parents. They don't know what they're talking about.
Sir, it has nothing to do with funding.
Yeah.
The State Board.
And you know, a lot of the teachers say,
mandate.
oh, we're in the best interest of the children. Why don't some of these teachers get up and say, you know, we're kind of against it? I haven't heard one person speak up. And in fact, I have people on both sides of the aisle, Republican, Democrat, gay, straight, coming to me, telling them, we don't want this BS in the school. Who wants it? Just the state? You want it? Because you know what? You have a choice to say, no. You vote. You vote. Because if I was on that board, I would say no. And what are you going to do to me? Nothing. Yes.
That's really, I won't
Really?
engage in that.
Who are the three that are
right
up?
now.
Because I'm going to knock one of you out this year. What do you mean? You're up? Well, good. Someone's going to be knocked off. And it'll be me and two other people. So good luck.
Would anybody else like to address the board? Please step forward. Renata, she has a right to address the board first, only
no,
when
go ahead, go ahead.
everyone.
I have
Yeah.
to wait. Yeah, go ahead. That's okay. And you can, it's okay.
Maria Mira, 50 Summit Drive. I just have a question. Mr. Dixon, you and I exchanged emails today about security at schools. That's me. So just, I agree with everything that gentleman said. Obviously, that's at the, hello, how are you? First and foremost, on my mind, for the new school year, I'll have 3 kids in the school district. So what are our plans? Like, when will you guys vote on additional security measures? Like, are you talking about it? What's the plan?
So we've been, again, I think, and Mr. Roselli stated it, we have been working on school security since school security issues became prevalent and have made significant changes over time in 14 years to facilities, infrastructure, to our procedures. We are following up. I didn't get to speak to Mr. Roselli today, but your email was able to address, and I was going to come tell him afterwards. We are going to pursue with the Freehold Township Police Department, adding at least one additional. I don't want to be And I'm not saying not more. I don't want to tell you now and make a false promise that it's going to be additional, but we are in communication with them to look into additional Class 3 officers for next year. And we always are reviewing our policies, procedures, and protocols. We are considering in the fall doing a school safety symposium because we have several people who are new to the district. We did it years ago, and people were really pleased to hear things that you wouldn't know, honestly. And we don't want to share at an open public meeting that's being live streamed. We would want to limit it to parents who can sign up and come, and we will do that in the early fall because there are several things that once you give out too much, you're putting it out there for anybody who wants to do harm to know our plans and know what we have in place. So at the minimum, and let's say that at the minimum, we're looking to add one next year. That may wind up being more, at the minimum one.
Can I follow up on that? Just 1 second. Neil, weren't we supposed, I remember last time the board discussed this, not that we haven't continued with our plan and continued to fund those programs, but when we discussed this last time with the officers in the schools and we worked with the Freehold Township Police Department to establish that, it was my understanding that there was, which is different than what the gentleman said, that there was an officer on this side of the school, on this side of town for the elementary schools, an officer on the other side of town for those elementary schools. Now it seems like we're not there.
That is correct. We had, for at least a year, an officer on each side of town for the the elementary schools on that side of town. Somebody retired and the police department was unable to find Class 3 officers to fill the position.
Are they still, because I remember last time we discussed that Class 3 officer, finding that person was, very, very hard for departments to do. Are they still in that position, or?
We just initiated the conversation in the last couple of weeks to determine if they can find somebody.
Okay.
So what is that based on? You're saying that you're talking about it, but like, what will the decision, does it come down to funding? What is it actually based on increasing?
I don't mean, do you understand, and I'm not really asking.
No,
do you
please.
So Class 3 officers, the way Mr. Roselli shared a couple of different models, armed guards in schools, we have Class 3 officers. So the Class 3 officers are employed by the Freehold Township Freehold Township Police Department, and we contract through the Freehold Township Police Department for their services during the school day. We have, as Mr. Roselli shared, we have 3. We are supposed to have 4, but they weren't able to find a 4th for this school year. We did have in the past. We are opening the communication to try to expand the number again.
But what I'm asking is, what is it going to be based on? Opening communication to.
We do have to reevaluate. I mean, the reality is, I'm not saying it's a budget that we can't afford it. What I'm saying is the budget is done and adopted, and we'd have to look in the budget to find what, if we went further, where is that money coming from? Does that make sense? So I'm not saying we don't have funding. I'm saying we'd have to go into a budget that's already been adopted and find out what is going in place of that. And trying to find that
Mr.
funding.
Dickstein, we also, it's partially funded by the police. It's not just
sorry.
an us decision. It is a mutual agreement to budget. So we really, while we can work on it on our end, we have to have the other piece of it too.
I understand. So right now, the police presence that's in front of the elementary school, do I understand that to be correct? He or she is splitting their time between the elementary schools? All right, I appreciate it. I implore the board to really take seriously this matter above all else. My children's safety, all the children in school, the schools is what matters the most. And given what's going on in the world, we can't say this may never happen here. So I implore you to please really consider that for the next school year.
Neil, just one more follow-up on that. Do we still have officers that are part of their normal patrols just stop by our schools in a schedule that can't be predicted, so that if anybody, God forbid, is trying to gather that pattern, they could not?
A couple of years ago, or at least a year ago, they restructured the police department, and the person in charge of for school security put out that during patrol during the day, the expectation is that patrolmen stop in the building and walk the building. If you're writing tickets or doing paperwork, they should be doing that in the parking lot of a school so that their presence is there outside of those officers.
Okay.
I also just wanted to add that many of us up here also have kids in the school now. We share your concern. We totally understand where you're coming from, and all of us are parents, so we all understand.
Thank you.
And there was a recent concern with the Y, and so patrol after hours as well are encouraged to be visible and present and to do walkthroughs after hours as well. So I think the communication we've had with the Freehold Township Police Department has been nothing but supportive. I think the one day at Katina, there were 3 cars there. When I went for arrival, it's good, they really want to be visible and present, and we have a tremendous amount of support. Their children also go to our schools, and I don't think there's anyone here that school safety is our priority. And so we're going to do everything that we can in the process that it takes.
Would anyone else like to address the board?
Hi, Naomi Bressler, Shady Lane. Really just to repeat some of the security issues. I know you guys have the best interests. You have kids in the district, even if you don't have kids in the district. But I just really, even 2 police officers, unfortunately, is not enough. I was in the building, my youngest goes to Applegate. I was in the building the other day, and there was an officer kind of just patrolling and doing the rounds, and it felt better, unfortunately. So I would really, whether you partner with the Freehold Township, it's my understanding that you don't only have to partner with the Freehold Township Police Department. You could hire, and I don't begin to pretend like I have any knowledge of the hiring and what that would be like. But I would really, it's unfortunate, but it seems necessary. My husband teaches in East Brunswick. They have an armed guard in every school at all times. And it really just seems like that's something that we need to do, and we need to make sure is there in place for the fall in every school. So again, I appreciate what you're doing. I'm sure there's a lot that goes into it behind the scenes, but I would strongly encourage that this be a priority for the year. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the board? All right, I think you're good, Renata.
So I'll take a second opportunity. Well, there's a couple of issues since people have been discussing. I think security can also be approached from an outside the box kind of thinking. We have lots of retired police officers, retired military, parents that have legal and carry permits. Bring them in, train teachers. There's lots of ways to protect a school. We cannot only depend on the police. We have to ultimately be responsible for ourselves too. So that, and then Michelle, you mentioned before about you take an oath when you become a board member.
Yes.
I don't think that oath would qualify or justifies an immoral act. If you take an oath, if the government or the state tells you to commit immoral and irregular acts, you don't have to follow those acts. So there's always a loophole.
If they were illegal, we would not have to
No,
follow.
that's not true. So you're saying that the Nazi soldiers,
Immorality can be a very gray area for a lot of people. What may be immoral to you may not be immoral to somebody else.
well,
So
I think
that's a fine line for somebody to
pedophilia
go
is
down.
pretty
That's all I'm gonna
immoral.
say.
There are laws against pedophilia and promoting sex with kids. So that's pretty black and white. There's no immorality involved with that. So, and that's how the other school boards have gotten that.
You mentioned that.
I can't hear you.
You mentioned that there's 4 districts that.
Correct. Garwood.
If you wouldn't mind sending my board email the.
Well, if you look it up on Google, you're not going to find it.
You wouldn't mind sending it to our.
I have Millstone and I have, sure. I need I have your email. Sure. So there's other 4 and they have council was given, and they were approached, and their council authorized it. So it's not impossible. I will forward it to you, Jennifer.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
You say Monroe?
Excuse me?
Oh, Millstone. Okay.
Millstone? Forget, Google's not going to give you that. You need to go to DuckDuckGo or to Firefox. Well, DuckDuckGo is, I think, taken over by Google. There's,
Yeah, I saw Garwood.
yeah.
No, it isn't.
There's four. Anyway, I'll find what I have, I'll send you. Okay? Yes.
Would anybody else like to address the board? Unnecessary, Sal, unnecessary. Be cordial. Everyone here is respectful. Please do the same. Would anybody else like to address the board? Okay. At this point, this board is going to go into executive session, so I'd like a motion to go into executive session. Second? Okay. Whereas pursuant to NJSA 10-412B, the Board of Education may exclude the public from that portion of a public meeting at which the board discusses any of the matters described at NJSA 10-412B 1 through 9. Now therefore be it resolved that in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, the Board of Education shall conduct a closed session pursuant to the personnel and legal exceptions prescribed by NJSA 10-412 for the purpose of discussing pending or anticipated litigation, claims against the district, and pending or anticipated contract negotiations, the FTEA proposed salary guides. It is anticipated the length of time of this executive session will be 30 minutes, and action will not be taken in public after the executive session. Be it further resolved that said discussion may be disclosed to the public when reasons for discussing and acting upon it in closed session no longer exist. So are we staying, we're going into. Okay, so we will be leaving the gym and probably close out our meeting in our other room, right? We have a second. Yep, we're good.
Oh, do you want these?